guys, so in today's video I'm going to be reviewing an art supply product. I'm going to be touching on a few different ones within the same category, but I'm mainly going to be focusing on one particular item, and that is these Sakura Pigma brush pens. This is in a set of 8 that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. It retails for $29.99, but you can get it discounted if you use a coupon. They usually have at least a 40% off of a regular priced item coupon that you can find online. So this set comes with 8 different colors. It doesn't list them anywhere, but I'll just read a little bit of this to you on the back. It claims that the ink in these pens is archival and waterproof, chemical resistant, fade resistant, bleed free, quick drying, and pH neutral. So we are going to be putting a couple of these things to the test today, and then it goes on to say it has controlled brush strokes for paper crafts, illustrations, freehand calligraphy, manga, and arts and crafts, basically. So I picked up a couple of these brush pens a couple of weeks ago at my local art store. I picked up a black one, a brown one, a lighter brown one, and a blue one. I fell in love with these, and that is what prompted me to go out and pick up a bigger set. So this set comes with some colors that I already have and some colors that I don't already have. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the colors that I have duplicates of in this set and setting them aside and saving them for a future giveaway. So if you're interested in that, you better stay tuned. Because, spoiler alert, I really love these brush pens. They're an incredible brush pen. I think they're super easy to use, so if you are an artist who is just getting into brush pens, I think you will really appreciate how easy these are to use, and I'm going to be doing a demonstration later in the video. But those are my initial thoughts, but I did want to compare them to the Faber Castell Pit Artist pens. These are the Faber Castell, just kind of regular brush pens. I've raved about these in the past and I do really like them, but I do think that there are some notable differences between the Sakura ones and the Faber Castell ones. So even though the colors aren't necessarily similar, I did want to do just kind of my thoughts on these as well in comparison. And then the last brush pen that I want to compare it to is the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen, just because I know for a single brush pen this item is somewhat pricey and it is raved about a lot here on YouTube. So I just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts and comparisons for this one. So I just did a quick little sketch in my sketchbook, and I'm going to be kind of inking it with all 3 of these pens, and then we're going to kind of do a Copic test and a water test to see if there's any bleeding or any funky business going on with these brush pens. So first of all, I did want to open these and swatch them for you and kind of just give you an idea of the colors. One thing is that this set does not come with the darker brown, so I will not be using the darker brown. And I'm just going to remove the blue, the black, and the lighter brown. Another thing that really does drive me nuts is that they don't have the colors listed on the barrels. But I am going to be setting these aside because these are the ones that have never been opened, and I'm going to be replacing them with the ones that I already have. So let's just take all of these out. I have a little scratch piece of paper here that I'm going to be using to show you the colors. So first of all, the one you all are probably most interested in is just the plain black brush pen. Here is what the tip looks like, if I can get a good shot for you. So there is a look at the tip. It's a really good size. You can get pretty fine details, but you can also cover a pretty good ground. So that gives you a good idea of just how pigmented these are. And just for comparison, you guys, here is how the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen looks, and here's how this line compares. So I don't know if you can see, but the Sakura Pigma brush pen is a lot more opaque. The black is much richer, and you don't have any of these little line skippings going on here. You see that? It kind of feathers out with the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. The Pentel Pocket Brush Pen is wonderful, but it can be a little bit unpredictable, and it's a little more expensive. So if you are looking for a good black brush pen, I would highly recommend the Sakura one. So that's just my thoughts on this one. And then the Faber Castell set does not come with a black, but I am just going to show you the darkest color that it does come with, and that is the Cool Gray 6. The nib looks like this. This nib is a little bit less flexible, but still very nice. And you can see, still very pigmented, although the color itself is lighter. But there is less of a taper to it. And this ink is kind of buildable in the sense that, like, the more you go over it, the darker it gets. Which, if you want a consistency in your line art, that can be a bit of a problem, so just keep that in mind. Okay, now we're gonna go on to swatching the rest of the colors. The next color I'll show you guys is this brown color. Again, I wish these had color names. That is what that one looks like. It's kind of a reddish brown. Then we have a red, very pretty, very pigmented. And these, they'll get a little bit darker if you layer over them, but not quite as drastically as the Faber Castell one. But you can see, you can get it to be a little bit darker. I wish I could zoom in on this webcam, you guys, but the autofocus is a little bit better. So hopefully when I bring it up to the camera like that, you can see. The next color is an orange, very, very pretty. Then we have pink, very cool color. Purple, also very pretty. A blue, I love the blue, you guys. Look at that pigmentation. It's just so vibrant, which I love. So pretty. And then the last color is green. Also very, very pretty. So you get quite a bit of variety. I wouldn't say that these are like always going to be necessary colors that you'll need, especially for line arts. A lot of people just use black for their line arts, and I know a couple of you have mentioned that you're not all that comfortable with colored line arts, but if you do want to experiment with it, these are super easy to use and you do get a good variety for the price. So now we're going to do a little bit of a time lapse while I kind of ink this drawing using these various tools, and then I'm going to go in and do a little test where I show you guys if any of these bleed, basically. So I will be back with the commentary after I'm done. Alright guys, so now that I'm done with the coloring, it's time to test to see if any of these pens bleed. But really quickly, I just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on just the line arts themselves, like if you were to just leave your piece like this without coloring it. So the Sakura pens are definitely the smoothest to color with. They definitely give you the most consistency. As you can see, the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen, I did get a lot of that kind of feathering where there's kind of little gaps. So there you can see a little bit of that kind of breakage with the ink flow in the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen, which I did to ink the hair, which can give you a really nice effect, but if you're looking for really, really consistent lines, I would say the Sakura pens are your best bet. Plus, they come to a much finer point than the Faber-Castell ones, so you can get a lot more detail. In this, I was pretty limited with how much detail that I could get, so I couldn't do too much there. But now we're going to put these to the test and see if they are Copic proof. I just have my colorless blender here. I also just have a little thing of water and a paintbrush so we can test both of these. I'm especially curious to see the comparison between the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen and the Sakura pen, but I do just kind of wanted to include the Faber-Castell one as well, just in case you are curious. So let's do the Copic test first. So I'm just going to take the brush end of my colorless blender. Actually, I should probably do the chisel end. I think the brush end is a little bit dry. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So I'm just gonna kind of go over, I should put a paper between this. We're just gonna use this. I have some other videos that I'm also planning on doing, so let me just do it like that. So I'm gonna saturate this pretty heavily, and I'm gonna do it on the face as well. Oh, we did get a little bit of bleeding with that black. Yeah, the black will bleed, but then again, this is right after I put the ink down, so bear that in mind. And the red bleeds a little bit too. How about the green? The green not so much, and the brown definitely doesn't. But bear that in mind. I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up. That black and that red definitely smudged on the face. So there was a little bit of smudging there, but I do think that the longer you wait for these to dry, you'll decrease your chances of that happening. Another option, if you really wanted to be very cautious, is just to do your line art after all your coloring, but a lot of people don't prefer to do that, and I completely understand why. So that kind of answers that. Now we're gonna see if the Faber Castell pens bleed. I might have to refill this at some point. So again, I'm gonna saturate this area pretty heavily. And that bleeding was pretty minimal. The only noticeable smudge I can see is right here. And again, that might be remnants on the nib from the Sakura pen. So let me refill my colorless blender. So now that I've filled this up a little more, I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, so the Faber Castell ones don't really seem to bleed a lot. I think that would be a good option for you, although you do risk losing some of that fine point detail that you can get with some of these other pens. So now I'm going to do the Pentel pocket brush, and this has had very little drying time, which probably means it's going to smudge at least a little bit. Make sure my paper's under there. Actually, you know what? It's not doing too bad. And yet this black on the Prisma Sakura ones are still pretty smudgy. So the Pentel pocket brush is actually holding up fairly well. The paper's still a little wet, so that could be a little bit of the discoloration there. But that actually didn't bleed near, like it hardly bled at all, and I was really expecting it to. But now we're gonna do the water test and see kind of what that shows us. So again, I wanna make sure I have a paper underneath this while we just kind of go to town. And we wanna make sure that again, we kind of really saturate this paper. Actually, what I should do, I'm gonna do it like this. That way I can ensure nothing bleeds through to the next page. So they all seem to actually be holding up pretty well. Yeah, it looks to me like maybe the Pentel pocket brush is fading just ever so slightly. And then the Sakura one is not bleeding at all with the water. So the claim of it being waterproof does hold true with all the colors, from what I can tell. But I'm really trying to see if I'm imagining things or if the Pentel pocket brush is bleeding. No, I don't think it is. So that completes my test, you guys. I was actually a little bit disappointed that this brush pen bled, but I would just advise you guys to wait at least an hour a day if you really want to be safe before you go in and color these with Copic markers. I usually don't color my drawings right after I ink them, but if you are one of those people, be advised that this may bleed on you. However, this one will not. If you only ink your line arts with a black liner or a black brush pen, this might be the best option for you. It is a little bit more expensive, but it is a very high quality. The only thing that is sort of a bummer is that the black ink in here is not super black, and that you do get those little gaps in the brush pen, like within the lines. It's not a super consistent line, as we saw. The Faber Castell ones are a really good option. One thing I will say about the Faber Castell brush pens is that they come in tons and tons of different colors. They are slightly more expensive than the Sakura ones though, so bear that in mind. I don't think that these are quite as versatile, so, but that's really personal preference. I loved this brush pen set. Personally, I don't usually use brush pens on my finished artwork. I use them for sketching in my sketchbook like this, which I just think is a very fun way to just kind of let loose. So I really like these. I love all the colors. I think they're all really beautiful. So if you want to try these out, I do recommend them. Just be wary that they might bleed on you, especially if you're using Copic markers. You're safe if you're using watercolors. I think you'll be fine. But thank you guys for watching this little experiment with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this little demo and my review. I will try and find the prices for the Pentel Pocket Brush and the Faber Castell 6-pit artist pens. This is the gray set, so I will try and find the price for this specific set. And as I will also try and link to a website where you can buy all 3 of these, just in case you're interested. This video was not sponsored. These are just my opinions, and I thought I would just share them with you today. So if you enjoyed watching this, guys, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and I will see you Friday for my Artsy Fartsy Friday video for the week. Bye, guys!